Yes, I into the O-N-E. Real, recognize real. Fake, familiar with
Yeah, I guess I have been off the radar in terms of fame and networking and public exposure and that, but yeah, don't get the wrong impression of me being lazy or anything. I do other things other than music and rap or whatever. I'm on a competitive soccer team, do a bit of art, got a good job, love life solid. But yeah, in terms of like musical momentum, that never stops. I'm always making stuff, writing raps, producing it, working with a few beat makers and that. So
yeah, I'm just me, Resin One. Yeah, I'm just me, Resin One. Okay, I'm just me, Resin One.
oh, I definitely haven't let myself down. Possibly a couple of family members and friends and that have been let down or just had a few questions on their mind, like, how come you're not on TV and on the radio and stuff like that. But, I've been in a few humbling situations with household names that, record labels and stuff sort of approach me asking me, to, if I'm interested on working with them and that. The first person, which I'll keep anonymous just because I respect that person, but he approached me at my house and my brother's stash was in the lounge and he asked me to, go to his record label as a solo artist, and I was just like, with all respect for the guy, because I do truly respect him, but for him to ask me to sign as a solo artist when my brother stash is in the lounge, I felt a little bit disrespected by that, and yeah, I definitely had to stay true to the family and pass on that, like, politely, with respect and that. But so being involved in those sort of situations, I definitely haven't let myself down, because when we made the Get That videos and Sunrise, my premeditation of thought was definitely like, oh, someone's definitely gonna show some interest, and a couple of people did, and that was, humbling to have happen. So.
R is for Resin One representation. E is for EDOS or elimination. S is for...
Oh, well, you gotta take into consideration that, I linked that Abro, those two mixtapes to my Facebook, so when the other household names may not have, so, you gotta take that into consideration, but, most of the people, no disrespect to Abro or anything, but most of the people that go on hip-hop blogs or even listen to the radio and watch video clips on TV aren't really viewing it from a raw musical, talent point of view. They're more sort of a dumbed-down sort of community of listeners out there, so I'm definitely more up to impress or showcase my craft to, well-respected musicians instead of getting props by a bunch of, musically mindless little sluts and teenagers sort of thing, But, no, I've definitely had far more things that have stroked my ego in the past. Like, for example, I don't know, skateboarding. I was down at Vic Park, 5 years ago, skating with Shay Ataria, the owner of ABC, who sponsored, every second fucking rapper in the country over the past. And I was skating down there and did a no slide kickflip out and rolled away fakie on the big ledge. And for him to approach me and give me a high five, skatersties, that's an ego stroke for me. Not having him fucking sponsor me some t-shirts and that, but for him to give a genuine high five for a skateboarding trick, his passion, that's an ego stroke. I think at the start of this year I was with Only Hunger Sport soccer club, and the coach there was Brian Turner, the assistant coach of the All Whites. The All Whites that went to the World Cup and was the only unbeaten team in the whole world of the world's biggest sport. And for him to pull me aside in training and say, Now look, Mr. Booker, you've got to start coming to training, because if you didn't, and you didn't play, it'd be a real waste of talent. You know, it's a direct link to the Wellington Phoenix because his mate's Ricky Herbert or whatever. You know, that's an ego stroke for me. You know, to be involved with, you know, sexual relations with girls that have had, you know, 5 famous rappers or even more like hit her up on Facebook. Have her like, you know, bring me over and go, oh, look at what these rappers are trying to chase you on Facebook, and have a laugh with me. You know, that's an ego stroke. You know, for rappers prancing around on YouTube as if they're fucking God's gift to girls, and have them look a little bit silly like that in real life situations, you know, that's an ego stroke for me. But no, definitely not a few hundred likes on a music blog, not so much, if you know what I mean.
Shit, this is my mind.
Of course, you know, just because the youth is my generation and, you know, the new youth on the radio and getting fame and that is in my generation, so, you know, possibly I've always got to have that natural, you know, biased judgment towards them. But if I was to actually put my ego and my emotions to the side and judge it just musically, you know, the youth that's coming through doesn't really move me, you know, doesn't really do it for me. No offense, you know, this is just my opinion, but because I've actually known a few of the youth guys growing up and that, and, you know, I've got friends that know them well and don't talk, you know, kaka when it comes to gossip, and just in comparison from their real life realities and what they've got to say, you know, on top of an instrumental, it just doesn't match up. And then, you know, they've got the nerve to say that they're real after that, and that it's just something that I can't really have true respect for. Tyson Taylor, I think, lyrically is pretty good. Don't really know the guy, so I can't judge him on the other perspectives, but just presentation vocally, lyrically, his content's pretty good, so yeah, for him, he'd probably be my number one in the youth generation. But yeah, I just think that there's so much more raw talent out there and people around our age group that could be really, you know, standing up and, you know, truly repping New Zealand for what it is, instead of trying to come across all Americanized and rapping on synthesized, fucking Americanized instrumentals with ATL drum rolls and stuff. I think, personally, there should definitely be a couple of dudes out there that are just repping it for what we really are, Aotearoa, land of the long white cloud. So we can, like, you know, rep ourselves for what it really is to overseas listeners and that, instead of just producing stuff that sort of seems like recycled, you know, versions of themselves. Tom from Homebrew, I've heard heaps and heaps of his music. You know, 50 odd tracks or so, and yeah, every time I listen to that dude, I'm always surprised by what he's got to say, and he's actually, you know, his literature's, you know, quite articulate, and it's got some mean flows and unpredictable rhyme patterns, and, you know, there's definitely a bit of mathematical precision with what he's writing down on the paper, and I just think what he's talking about is just so different to everyone else, and that point of difference, you know, makes him respectable and likable and easy to listen to for me.
Resin One, no shame. Communicate straight, get it done, no game. Face of a teenager, dumb, bold brain. The IQ